The land of the long white cloud, New Zealand hosted the opening round of the 2013 season from Western Springs in Auckland. The Speedway World Championship opener saw our Warriors of Show return to the Southern Hemisphere after the success of the inaugural race last year. And on the night, it proved to be a tough one for the defending champion Chris Holder. But despite being knocked out of the semis, he left Auckland with 9 valuable championship points. Debutant and fellow Aussie Darcy Ward, alongside Britain's Ty Woffington, both made impressive starts to their GP campaign, both reaching the last 8. But the final had a familiar ring of experience about it. Pedersen, Hancock, Gollum, Hamble. In red and from inside gate 1, Jarek Hamble left everyone eating dirt as the Polish star took the first win of the year. And after his injury-curtailed season last year, how much did the win mean to him?
It was really nice to get back on the bike again. You know, I was really frustrated last year when I spent my time in the home on the couch, you know, watching on the telly Speedway Grand Prix. So yeah, you know, I feel great after the first Grand Prix New Zealand because my result was good. So I'm looking forward.
It's the Polish duo of Thomas Goloba and Jarek Hamble on 15 points that sit on top of the championship after round 1, with Pedersen and an impressive Darcy Ward on 12 points apiece. World champion Chris Holder, despite no final in New Zealand, is 7th in the standings.
Year before it was only 4 points and, you know, it was struggling big time, but 9's okay, I'm happy with that. But, you know, tomorrow I really want to step it up a bit and, you know, get a few more points and really get up front.
No final, but 9 valuable points from New Zealand. So, from New Zealand, the series returns to the familiar tracks of Europe, and we start in Bydgoszcz, Poland. The stadium returns to the series after a 2-year absence from the World Championship and is a firm favourite with the riders.
It's a really nice track to ride on when the bike is fast, but when there is not, it's a nightmare.
If you have a good gate and you have a good, you know, pretty quick bike, it's always much more easy. So that's most important in Bydgoszcz.
It's not the grippiest track in the world. It's quite slick, but you race a low sprocket, you know, and you get the momentum, then you have the speed out there.
OK, so here we go then. Let's get to the action trackside with our commentators Nigel Pearson and Kelvin Tatum.
Campbell looking to build on that great start in Auckland, of course. It's a packed house here in Bydgoszcz, and the riders are about to be introduced to the crowd after we've had the Polish national anthem, of course. Well, it really is a major sport in Poland, Speedway. Kelvin Tatum alongside me tonight, talking you through the action. And Kelvin, it's good to be back at Bydgoszcz. They haven't had a Grand Prix here for a couple of seasons now, and they clearly love their Speedway here. And it's good to be back.
Yeah, terrific. I'm really excited about it, actually. Here we go with the lineup.
Youngster at reserve, Mikolaj Choriwo, who hasn't appeared in the Grand Prix before. He'll be desperate to get an opportunity tonight, and his fellow reserve as well is Szymon Woźniak, another youngster who is making his debut in a Grand Prix tonight. It really is a big moment for these guys if they do get called to race.
Oh yeah, huge night in prospect for them. Here we go, the wild card, of course, Bydgoszcz, Krzysztof Bydgoszcz. We saw him in the World Cup last year in Gorzów, certainly making his mark. He's a local lad, he rides here, and I'm sure, again, he's a favourite. Plenty of local support for him.
Now, what about this guy? Darcy Ward took a knock in the week. He's got a hand injury, a thumb injury. He's been in the wars, but he practiced yesterday and he says he's OK.
Yeah, such an exciting rider, isn't he? We've seen what he can do, and he certainly started in fine style. This man did also. Ty Woffington back in the series, of course, and certainly looked very professional. Seems to have rededicated himself to the sport. An encouraging start in New Zealand for him.
Yeah, what a boost it would be for British Speedway to see a British rider doing well. Niels Christian Iversen had a dream season last year,
Indeed he did, yeah, fabulous. He's, again, another rider that's refocused. He's in great shape, and performances again this season are looking good.
Matty Zegar's had a good start to the season. He's back racing in the UK with Bellevue, and he's scoring the points.
He is, and he's had a very impressive week leading up to this event. Not quite such an impressive start in New Zealand, but look out for him tonight. Christoph Kasperzak, another hard charge, and again enjoyed a great season last year. He's back in the Grand Prix. He loves riding in front of the home audience.
Certainly does, hugely popular. And what about this man, Jarek Hampel, winner in Auckland. It's his third Grand Prix win there.
Yeah.
In what has been a fine career. Many regard him as a world champion of the future.
He's the real deal. He's been a top 3 man in the past, had an awful injury last year. Brilliant win in New Zealand.
And what about this guy, Martin Vasily? Emerged on the Grand Prix scene last year. Really made a name for himself.
Did he ever? He burst on the scene, won his first Grand Prix, and he'll be looking to get amongst the points tonight.
AJ, Andreas Jonsson, has been based in Bydgoszcz. He won the last Bydgoszcz Grand Prix here October 2010. He knows the fastest way around here.
And he was pretty impressive in New Zealand. Frederick Lindgren was a rider just outside the top 8 after New Zealand, but without question is now a proven performer at this level. Won his first World Championship event last year, as did this man as well, Antonio Lindback. Brilliant back end of last season. Struggled a little bit in New Zealand, but keep an eye out for him.
And Emil Saifudanov, who is with engine tuner Ashley Holloway in Bydgoszcz, knows this place inside out. And an outsider for tonight's meeting.
Yeah, a lot of people fancy him for this evening, and certainly knows this place. Rode, of course, here in the league for several seasons. That's this man. What a record he has around this place. 7 Grand Prix wins. Fabulous reception for Thomas Golub. Still lives in the area.
Even though he's moved down the road to ride for Torren, the local rivals. Now, what about this man? Greg Hancock, remarkable character, has ridden in every single Grand Prix since the inception of the series back in 1995. And Nicky Pedersen, second in the World Championship last year. Tonight is his 123rd Grand Prix appearance.
Fabulous. He really did hustle it there in New Zealand, and he's fired up. Chris Holder, of course, the reigning world champion, did it in fine style last year, defeating Nicky Pedersen in the showdown at Torren just down the road. Steady start for him with 9 points.
Well, ZKS Polonia Stadium has hosted 14 FIM Speedway Grand Prix. That's only second to the Majketa Stadium in Prague, where the World Cup is this year. Well,
Greg Hancock.
That's more like it. Herbie?
Martin Vatsulig.
Looking for a better night.
Freddie Lindgren.
A big season ahead for Fast Freddy.
Nicky Pedersen.
So determined in New Zealand.
Krzysztof Kasprzak.
Determined to make it count on the big stage.
Tomasz Golub.
Will it be his night again?
Krzysztof Bydgoszcz.
The wild card, don't rule him out. He's going to tear it up tonight and surprise a few.
Andreas Jonsson.
Had a good start in New Zealand, knows this place well.
Jarek Hampel.
Winner in Auckland, can he back it up with another win tonight?
Darcy Ward.
So exciting to watch.
Emil Saifudanov.
A real outsider, could really do some damage tonight.
Niels Christian Iversen.
In the form of his life, don't rule him out.
Ty Wolfenden.
The only Great Britain man in the lineup and started well.
Antonio Lindback.
Brilliant last year, needs to recapture it tonight.
Slovenian Zegar looking good so far this season, so it's all set up beautifully here. There is the setting.
Yeah.
The riders getting set for the first race of the night here. If you are new to Grand Prix Speedway, by the way, and you have just joined us, the rules are basically this: 3 points for a win, 2 for second, 1 for third, and nothing for finishing last. Each rider has 5 rides, and the top 8 in the standings after 20 races tonight now will go through to the semi-finals. The winner of the 2 semi-finals goes through to the final, and the winner of the final is deemed the winner of the Grand Prix. So that is the way it is. This is round 2 of 12. We are back here in Poland in Torren, which is just down the road from here in October, for the final round of the series this year. And when you look at the lineup as well, there's been a lot made about it, Kelvin, as well, when you talk about exciting youngsters like Wolfenden and Ward that have come into the equation this year. And there's been so much excitement about this year and the lineup for the Grand Prix series.
The lineup for the Grand Prix series has never been stronger. You've got to say that the qualifiers this year are all, you know, decent riders. Iversen has rediscovered his form. Kasperzak was in great form last year, and you look down there, it's very difficult to pick a winner. There are so many potential winners, and you have to say that even though Zegar started, you know, indifferently in New Zealand, he's been in fine form in the league coming into here. So It's a big call tonight. You're going to have to be extremely focused. Can't afford any mistakes out there tonight, no doubt about that. Here we go.
What's going through the riders' minds now? They're getting ready. They'll be under 2 minutes shortly.
Desperate to get on with it. You know, the parade's over. You're now nervous. You've got those butterflies in your stomach. You just want to get off to a good start tonight. Get that first ride out of the way. Settle in. Track's quite different. Yesterday, in practice, the track was very slick. There's no question that they have actually worked very hard on the surface. Should generate a little bit more grip out there during the evening. But really now, Nige, to answer the question, you're nervous. You want to get that first ride out of the way and points on the board.
Talk to us about Speedway in Poland. It's a remarkable story. It's a massive sport. You used to race in the Polish league, fly out from the UK and race every Sunday. And
exactly. And
the tracks and the atmosphere are something special, aren't they?
They take it very seriously. It's close to their hearts. They're very passionate about the sport here. And when you do well, they love you. When you don't do so well, they're fairly quickly can turn on you. But yeah, as I say, they love it here. And there's no question when you do well in front of the Polish support, there's no finer feeling. And generally the tracks are big, fast, and we see some spectacular stuff.
Two world champions going head-to-head in the first race. Hancock, that man we see in our picture, in the white helmet colour. And Chris Holder is in yellow. He's the reigning champion. As we say, two world champions going head-to-head.
Yeah.
And Greg and Chris are big pals off the track as well, but you forget about that when you get out there, don't you?
Well, every man for himself. It's an individual event, and they're all charging to be world champions. So, as I say, will be nothing given going into the first corner. Can't wait for it to get underway.
This is the first of 3 Grand Prix here in Poland. We're back in Bydgoszcz later in the season, and we will be at Torun, as I mentioned earlier. And, of course, the World Cup is in Częstochowa, event #1. So plenty of racing, World Championship level here in Poland in the season ahead. So looking forward to that. And, of course, Cardiff in Great Britain, June the 1st. That really is a highlight at the Millennium Stadium. And it's a little bit earlier this year than it was last year. So I think there's, 6 weeks to go to Cardiff.
It is indeed.
So looking forward to that.
Here we go then, Heat 1, and a fabulous looking lineup. As you've rightly say, we've got 2 world champions here. And there's no question that there will be very competitive coming from the outside. And we see the opportunity to get off to a flying start. But don't rule out Freddie Lindgren coming out of the inside gate. And there's, got to say, there's plenty of grip on the inside. And it's the shortest way to the first corner. So Lindgren now working with Brian Karger, the engine tuner, the Danish ex-Speedway rider, of course, in the pits with him this evening. And he'll be very keen.
So, heat #1 coming up then, and Greg Hancock changing bikes there, Kelvin. Obviously not too satisfied with the setup of the first choice.
Yeah, we do see that often from Thomas Gollop, don't we? We see him come out with a couple of bikes, he doesn't practice start, but as I say, conditions are very different from what they experienced here yesterday in practice. There's no question there looks like there's a fair bit of material out there. Antonio Lindback keenly looking on. What will he get up to tonight? Certainly he can be a dynamite rider on the right night.
First race of the European Speedway Grand Prix.
Martin Batsuli. Greg Hancock.
Former world champion.
Chris Holder.
The reigning champ coming from the outside.
So the nerves will be jangling. A big crowd here in Bydgoszcz tonight. Greg Hancock, a remarkable character, celebrating the birth of his 3rd child recently on the eve of the season as well.
He is a remarkable character because to be ever present in the Grand Prix since 1995, that is quite staggering in itself. And then he won 2 World Championships 14 years apart. Here we go, we're setting it down for an exciting night as we went.
Heat #1, Christer Gardell from Sweden is our referee here in Bydgoszcz tonight. Fans hold their breath. The action about to get underway. Round 2 of the World Championship. And going into that first turn, a super start from the inside line from Fredrik Lindgren. And watch out for Hancock around the outside. Lovely move from the man in the white helmet colour from the United States. Greg Hancock has that lead. Second place is Fredrik Lindgren of Sweden. And coming round in 3rd now, here is Martin Vasilik putting pressure on Holder, who goes wide. Holder holds 3rd, but Vasilik is pushing hard here now.
Yeah, well, Holder got up the inside of Vasilik there, and he's beginning to put pressure on. Brilliant first corner from Herbie Hancock out in front. Gate 3 often is not terrific, but he's shown terrific speed out in front. Lindgren settles nicely in second place, but Holder certainly looking fast in third.
Well, Hancock switched bikes, and it's obviously done the business as Chris Holder tries to switch up the inside line on Frederick Lindgren in red here. Hancock goes into the last lap with a convincing lead. Second place is Frederick Lindgren, but Holder is right up his exhaust
He's
pipe.
faster, Nigel. He's looking for a way through. He's desperate to find something. Big one, big last swoop. Will he chop back to the inside? Oh, Vasilik nearly runs into the back of him, but Lindgren hangs on.
Well, they were throwing the bikes at each other late on there. Lindgren, Holder, Vasilik had a go. But Greg Hancock made that switch of machinery right before the race started, and it has paid dividends. What a move that was. He made a dream start. Lindgren made a good start as well, but Hancock just swept around the outside.
Yeah.
Super ride from Greg Herbie Hancock. A remarkable stat is that this is his 158th Grand Prix. He wins heat number 1. Hancock the winner. Lindgren was second. Holder was third. And Martin Vasilik at the back. There's confirmation then of the opening race of the European Speedway Grand Prix. All the action was for second, third and fourth. Once Hancock had taken that lead, he'd got the race well and truly under control.
Yeah, it was a good decision to swap his equipment there going out for the first race. Very smart. Obviously felt the other bike wasn't going to be up to it, but we see it again. It's coming out of gate 3, the white helmet colour there. Not always the best gate, but he gets a nice run into the first corner. Holder's squeezed out at the back. Sweeps around the outside of Freddie Lindgren as they go down the back straight on the opening lap. Vasilik is there in third place, and Holder has to work really hard. Holder, the world champion, #1 on his back, charges up the inside, gets himself into third place, and then sets about Freddie Lindgren. But that man out in front, Greg Hancock, was super out in front, very classy, and exactly what he needed. He settles down nicely.
Celebration time for Greg Hancock, using all his track craft and knowledge. He's a happy man, quite right too. And down the back straight, Krzysztof Bydgoszcz has just changed machinery for heat number 2 as well.
I think one of the reasons we're going to see a little bit of that early doors, Nigel, is because the fact that the conditions are significantly different from yesterday. And I think that, you know, maybe the bike that they chose yesterday is not the one that they will start on, because there's a bit more grip out there. And as I say, they want to make the right choice. Certainly, for Greg Hancock, he got it spot on for heat 1.
Well, what a lineup this is. We've got 3 Polish riders. Let's see this again. Krzysztof Bydgoszcz flipped his bike down the back straight.
Well, a touch embarrassing to start the evening off by doing a practice start and flipping it. Certainly, I don't know if that would have settled his nerves or he's feeling a touch nervous, but certainly it's not the ideal way to start. He'll be hoping that he doesn't actually do that once we get to the start line proper.
Krzysztof Bydgoszcz.
On his second choice of bike.
Tomasz Golob.
The master of this place.
Krzysztof Kasprzyk.
Very, very quick rider.
You can never rule him out.
Well, Nicky really worked hard in New Zealand, didn't he, to bounce back from a poor start. The 3-times world champion in the yellow helmet off gate number 4. 3 poles and a Dane then. Heat number 2 of the European Grand Prix. And going into that first turn, Bydgoszcz nudges Golob. Coming around the outside is Nicky Pedersen in yellow. Golob's there as well. What a ride from Nicky Pedersen. That took some courage. He is a real hard rider. And what a wonderful move it was. Pedersen from Golob, from Bydgoszcz, and trailing at the back is Krzysztof Kasprzyk, and you can be sure that Thomas Golob will push Pedersen hard here.
Indeed he will. Brilliant first corner from a 3-time champion Pedersen. Such a determined character is out in front, but look at Golob. Golob beginning to find a way, has to roll the throttle off as they come into the first corner. Second time around, Bydgoszcz back in third. Going to say Kasperzak's out the back, but Golob, he's going to make Pedersen work right to the checkered flag. Here he comes.
Thomas Golob, just listen to the Bydgoszcz roar! Pedersen goes back for more!
Bydgoszcz on the inside! Oh, Pedersen back round the outside. Brilliant speedway here in heat 2. Golob hits the front. Here we go.
Thomas Golob raises the roof! Bydgoszcz finishes second! And Nicky Pedersen, who had the lead for a large part of that race, only gets a point. But Thomas Golob, who rides down the road for Bydgoszcz rivals Torrent these days, has just raised the roof in only the second race of the night. That is what Thomas Golob is all about.
What a ride from Golob. He just loves winning races around this track. Pedersen was brilliant early doors around the first corner, hit the front, really looked like he was going to dominate the race. But Golob had other ideas and he charged through, and can you believe it? Pedersen is only getting a point in that race. Super Speedway.
Thomas Golub, the winner then. Second place was Krzysztof Bydgoszcz. Third was Nicky Pedersen and Krzysztof Kasperzak at the back. And what a Speedway race that was. And how many times down the years have we seen Mr. Golub do that, Kelvin?
Well, numerous times, too many to remember, but here we see it again. Pedersen, brilliant from the outside. Golub tries to push him, but Pedersen just has that little bit, 3 abreast as they come out of turn 2 on the opening lap. Pedersen at this stage has hit the front, he's got the fresh air, but you have to say Golub knows this place like the back of his hand. He comes charging around the outside of Pedersen. He cannot do that, and then of course he's drifted wide, and he left the door wide open for Bydgoszcz to come into second place. Pedersen will be gutted, but that man, what a way to start tonight with a very impressive 3 points.
Superb ride from Thomas Golub. Sensational Speedway in the early
Bike
stages.
changing once again, Knight's coming out for heat 3. Once again, conditions are very different from what they encountered yesterday, so riders are just being mindful of the fact that they're going to need a little bit more grunt in their engine. Certainly there's going to be material developing. But wow, what a way to start the night for Golub, really setting the tone.
There was talk about practice yesterday about how slick the track was, Kelv.
Yes.
And I know the organisers had a chat with the track curator and they said, look, can we rip up some material?
That's a kind way of putting it.
Okay.
But I think there was a very forthright discussion of the track curator and the race director. But here we go.
The brilliant young Russian.
The brilliant young Australian.
Jarek Hampel.
Winner in Auckland. Can he follow that up?
Strong start in New Zealand.
And a winner here in Bydgoszcz 3 seasons ago. Andreas, what a lineup this is, by the way. Saifudanov, Ward, Hampel, Jonsson.
Fabulous.
Doesn't get much better than this. And
no
that
easy races in the Grand Prix. Oh, it was. What a way to start the night for him. And the place was absolutely on the edge of its seats. We settled down for heat 3. The question Saifudanov is going to be up for this one tonight. He's a favourite here.
Heat number 3 it is. What can Darcy Ward do after his recent hand injuries? Take tries. And going into that first turn, what a start that is from the man in white. Jarek Hampel takes that lead. Second place is Emil Saifudanov. Third in yellow right now is Andreas Jonsson, and Ward is at the back. But Jarek Hampel, remember last June, it was an awful crash in Copenhagen. And he came back. Yep, and he came back. And this season he's a different rider completely. Hampel looking superb. Second place in red is Saifudanov. And third in blue, Darcy Ward.
Yeah, Ward's hustled his way into third place. Good hard charging from him, but Hampel so full of confidence after that win in New Zealand a few weeks back, but he's out in front, made that gate 3 in the first corner. Look how fast he is. He's beginning to stretch his leg. Saifudanov back in second place. He's no slouch round here, but Hampel, you have to say, is looking terrific in his opening ride.
Well, what speed has Hampel got? As we look at him here kicking on, there's a battle at the back. It's Jonsson in yellow and Ward in blue. Ward's just about hanging on. Jonsson will really have a go on the inside line, but it's another Polish victory, and it's Jarek Hampel in the white helmet colour with Emil Saifudanov second. Third was Darcy Ward, and we know about Jarek Hampel's credentials. 21 finals in his Grand Prix career, and you wouldn't put it past him getting to final number 22 tonight.
Absolutely not. I certainly fancy his chances here this evening. He certainly started there in fine style in heat 3, and you know, after the brilliant win in New Zealand, and considering the injury he had in Copenhagen last year, he's back to his best right away.
Dislocated ankle and a broken leg. That's all it was.
Yeah.
Hampel the winner.
Just a scratch.
Emil Saifudanov second. Darcy Ward third. Andreas Jonsson at the back. And that was convincing from Hampel right from the start.
Yeah.
He had the race well and truly under control. Yeah.
Emphatic right from the get-go here. The tapes are up. Once again, the bike drives lovely to the first corner, middle of the track. They're all hustling around that first corner. Andreas Jonsson getting squeezed out there earlier on by Emil Saifudanov. Darcy Ward then does a terrific job to get himself up into third place, but he couldn't make any headway against the 2 boys out in front. But Jarek Hampel, that was a very confidence-boosting ride and a message to the opposition, I mean business. Well, I think he will be. I think he's going to be a real force to be reckoned with throughout the season.
Well, he's just so quick away from the start there, wasn't he? And nobody could get near him.
And once he hit the front, he showed terrific speed. And, you know, as I say, he's been a top 3 rider in previous seasons. Lindback, like many others, is swapping his equipment coming out for his first ride. Again, conditions are different from yesterday. But, yeah, here we see some younger riders and some experienced riders coming back to the series, coming up to Heat 4. But once again, no easy races. When you look down the programme, no weak links this year.
Just for our new viewers, by the way, you may have to excuse a little bit of British bias along the way from Kelvin and myself for Ty Woffington. Good to see him in the Grand Prix. And
what are you trying to say?
Well, it would be good. It would be good for the sport in the UK to see a successful Grand Prix British rider.
Absolutely, it will be. He got off to a good start. Hope he can keep it going here this evening.
Has been in fine form for Bellevue.
Looking for a big night.
In great form so far this season.
Yeah, again, another rider in top form.
Certainly is, Everson. It's good to see him back in the GP because last season he really was excellent.
Just a side note about him, evidently before last year he worked really hard on his fitness and he really has turned things around, and certainly this season again he's in fine form.
This is heat number 4 of the European Speedway Grand Prix. And Woffington has been left trailing at the start. Zagar has made a beauty. Now Woffington comes up the inside. On the outside is Matej Zagar. How did they stay on the bike? Zagar has the lead. Second place is Woffington. Third in yellow is Niels Christian Everson. And Everson comes up the inside of Woffington now. It's race on here in Bydgoszcz.
Yeah, brilliant first corner from Ty Woffington. Dreadful start, but he switched back to the inside. He's into second place and showing good speed. Zagar out in front, winding it on under all sorts of pressure. Lindbeck's down the back, been tailed off. But the first three, this could go anywhere there. And Zagar is becoming under a lot of pressure from the Brit.
Yeah, Woffington's got plenty of speed and plenty of confidence. Zagar reaping the rewards of a busy start to the season, back riding in the UK with the Bellevue Aces. And he has that lead. He looks classy. He looks smooth. Woffington holding on to second. Everson pushing hard, and Lindbeck well and truly at the back. Zagar, has he done enough? He has. He's clamped the inside line, and that denies Woffington. Because if it had gone wide, Woffington was going to try that inside line, and it may have worked. But full credit to Matej Zagar. Super ride from him. And that was an interesting start to the race, Cal.
It was, certainly for Woffington, who was left there. The bike either misfired or something went amiss, but he made up for it. Big Star with a terrific move around the inside on the first corner. Zagar wasn't the fastest rider in that race. Woffington looked quicker, but Zagar rode a very smart line. There was no way through for the Brit, but Zagar starting in fine start.
Woffington in second after being left at the start. Niels Christian Everson was third there, and Antonio Lindbeck disappointed at the back. The race winners so far: Hancock, Golub, Hampel and Zagar.
Welcome back to Bydgoszcz. How close do you like your Speedway GP action? It was an astonishing first 4 heats. Not least of all, we've got people like Matej Zagar pushing through, and Everson, and Tom Woffington as well in white. Brilliant from him early on. Greg Hancock, though, stamping his authority. He stands on top of the points lead so far. Does grin Hancock as he comes round. Superb style. Brilliant here on the slick Bydgoszcz. They were expecting it to be slick, but Woffington finding his way through on the inside. And all Everson can do was watch and wait.
Greg Hancock, great way to kick off the night in Heat 1.
Yeah, nice. Got a good start out of 3 there, and it was looking a little iffy all afternoon here if the gates were going to be even, but doesn't matter. I made a great one there. I'm happy.
Gate 1 worked, but is the track a lot different to yesterday? The boys were saying it was pretty slick in practice.
Yeah, you know, it was more like normal Bydgoszcz yesterday, and today it's not normal Bydgoszcz. So they've actually managed to get a little bit more bite in the surface, and you know, he's seen a couple of good races so far. So let's see what happens.
One of those unique tracks, though, very hard to defend on. You've got to do your own job.
Yeah, you know what? It's when it's like this, a little bit more grippy on it. It's actually easier to defend than it is when it's really slick. So we'll be watching it closely now to see how nervous you got to be later.
Right off the outside next time, there's some dirt out there for the guys being brave.
Yeah, that's right. You know, if you can get you got to get the right run and hope that things happen for you on the inside too. But nevertheless, you got to make a good start.
Just the 1 point for the reigning world champions. So they're the next 4 races.
So there we go then. Greg Hancock says if you want to be brave, you'll get the points, but you've got to be out there on the dirt to make the most of it. Let's go back then to our commentators, Nigel Pearson and Kelvin Tatum.
Number 5 coming up then, and we have just the one race winner in this heat, Jarek Hampel off the outside gate in yellow. But the outside gate, can he make it work? Because it's not worked for anybody so far. We haven't had a race winner off gate number 4.
But Hampel was very impressive in his opening ride. He showed terrific speed, and you have to believe that he is brimming full of confidence, and he'll be a tough man to beat. Iversen, Lindgren and Bydgoszcz, of course, all struggled a little bit in their opening rides. Bydgoszcz actually came through nicely, to be fair to him. He actually got the better of Nicky Pedersen, so 2 very useful points for the wild card.
I think Bydgoszcz there read the situation well, Kelvin. He could see what was happening in front of him, and he read it well.
Yeah, he was an opportunist, wasn't he? He got in amongst it, and just as Nicky Pedersen tried to defend to stop Golub as he ran wide there, the opportunity opened up for him, and he dived in there and got himself into second place. No question, Nicky Pedersen will be feeling frustrated about that. Probably felt that he had the race in his pocket and ended up running third, but that's the sort of racing we can expect tonight. You know, you can never guarantee to, once you've hit the front, to remain there. It's one of those places where you never feel completely comfortable unless you are absolutely red hot. Got to say that Jarek Hampel did look especially quick in his opening rides, and if he can maintain that here, he's going to be a big threat tonight.
Well, he's been the quickest rider on show, in my view, although Golub had to work hard for his win. Getting the better of Nicky Pedersen, and that was the race of the night so far. We've only had 4, and there's 23 races in total, 20 to decide the semi-finalists and then the grand final. And it really is set up quite beautifully for a terrific night of Speedway here in Bydgoszcz, the motorsportwash.com European Speedway Grand Prix.
It's a cool evening, and you know, that will make the engines run really sweetly. They'll be crisp, they'll be sharp. And with these grippier conditions, Greg Hancock pointed that out in his interview with Steve Brandon, that there's a bit more grip than normal that they encounter here in Bydgoszcz. So I think that bodes well. I think we're going to have an entertaining night. We've already seen some super stuff in the opening 4 heats. So, yeah, here we go. Jarek Hampel, no question, a crowd favourite. The pools, love it.
Davey Watt, who is currently injured, has got a hand injury. So a little bit frustrated at the moment, Davey Watt. We wish him well for a speedy recovery from that. Heat number 5 coming up. Looking to build on his 1 point so far.
Yeah, steady first ride.
Bydgoszcz.
Read the race well and got a couple of points.
Jarek Hampel.
Super fast in his first ride.
This is heat number 5, a big test for Hampel now. He was so quick, as you said, Kelvin.
Yeah.
But can he make gate 4 count? It's a tough one, going from that outside gate. It's a long way to that first turn here in Bydgoszcz, of course.
Exactly that. It is a long way, and so far we've seen riders struggle with that. He'll either, if he doesn't get there and he has the opportunity, he may chop back to the inside and try and creep around the inside. That sometimes gains you a place or 2 as you go down a back straight. But, you know, riders at this level of the competition very rarely make mistakes. So very competitive racing. Can Hampel make it from the outside?
He's the man to watch, Jarek Hampel, off the outside gate in yellow. He was so quick in his opening ride. Heat number 5 of the European Speedway Grand Prix.
Oh.
And away from the start, off the inside in red. That was a quick one from Iversen, and Hampel has been left trailing at the back. Iversen now in red, being challenged by Bydgoszcz, and Lindgren now coming through, challenging for second place. Hampel now has a real challenge on his hands.
Packed up.
Drama here in Bydgoszcz. Jarek Hampel slowing up. Niels Christian Iversen has the lead. Second place is the wild card Bydgoszcz. Frederick Lindgren is third, and Jarek Hampel is not going to score in this race.
Bit of disappointment for Hampel. So impressive first time out, but this time the bike's packed up. He will not score any points. Iversen so sharp away from the tapes on the inside. Gate 1 working brilliantly for him. He's showing good form out in front. No question, he's becoming under a lot of pressure now from Bydgoszcz. Bydgoszcz really is having a super night so far. At the very worst, he's going to pick up another 2 points here and moving on to 4. But Iversen out in front under pressure.
Yeah, he really is. Going to have to ride a clever line here. As Bydgoszcz looks over his shoulder, I think he's resigned to the fact that he won't get Iversen. Super ride from Niels Christian Iversen back in the Grand Prix, and good to see him back at this level because he is a world-class rider. He's won World Cups for Denmark. He's been in the Grand Prix before. He's got all the credentials, 27 GP appearances before tonight, and he really is a top rider. And he's very, very worthy of his place here in this competition. Now, the inquest begins for Jarek Hampel.
It cut out going around. First of all, he made a poor start from the outside. It was almost like the two boys on the outside missed it completely. But Niels Christian Iversen didn't. He was sharp away from the tapes on the inside.
Iversen the winner, with Bydgoszcz second, and third was Lindgren. And now this is how it affects the progressive standings. Iversen goes top on 4 with Bydgoszcz, but of course the race winners in Hancock and Golob-Zagar have a race in hand.
Well, Hampel will be mightily disappointed. He was so impressive in his opening ride, but there clearly had mechanical issues and failed to finish. We'll see it again. The tapes go up, and the first two boys on gates 1 and 2 in red and blue, they're really sharp away from the tapes. Bydgoszcz was terrific round the first corner with the front wheel right over the white line and hustled his way into second place. He then set about, we're seeing Hampel obviously packing up with issues with his equipment out the back, but then there was a real good tussle out in front with Bydgoszcz coming at Iversen really hard. But Iversen hangs on and picks up a very useful win. But disappointment for Jarek Hampel, and Iversen now with that win is looking good on 4 points.
Yeah, good ride from him then, and we approach heat number 6.
Concern for Hampel because, you know, you can ill afford to make mistakes at this level. And now all of a sudden, after such a good start to the meeting, he's been rocked back onto the back foot, as it were, because he's now going to have to work a little bit harder.
Here's heat number 6, and here's your lineup. The Swede, yet to score.
Yeah, pretty impressive first time out.
Desperate to get on the scoreboard.
Yeah, needs more speed if he wants to get amongst the points.
Yeah, he looked very slow in his opening ride, KK, and it's not like him. One of the quickest riders in the world on his day. We've seen him score maximums in the World Cup.
Yes.
For his country. And heat number 6 is coming up here.
It is indeed, and Kasper Zak is also going to have the issue of coming from the outside, so he needs to find something a little bit special here.
3 of these riders yet to score a point then, and away from the start, Sayfutdinov off gate number 2, but Lindback is going to take him wide. Now, can Sayfutdinov get the drive around the outside? Yes, he can. Super ride from Emil Sayfutdinov, got plenty of speed down that back straight, coming off turn 2. It's Antonio Lindback in second place. Third in white is Martin Vasilek, and Kasper Zak once again trailing at the back, but that was a smart move by Emil Sayfutdinov. He saw that Lindback was taking him wide, and it played into his hands because he got the drive out of the dirt from turn 2.
Terrific move in the first corner from Sayfutdinov. He's just moving out a little bit wider. He's allowing the bike to run, to generate a lot of speed. He's not scrubbing the speed off too much, and he's gently pulling away out in front. Lindback looks a bit more competitive this time. Of course, he failed to score in his opening ride, and he's settled nicely in second place with Vasilek in third, but disappointment for the Pole, Kasper Zak. KK out the back, not really going to land a blow in this one.
Well, Sayfutdinov is the track record holder here in Bydgoszcz, and that's 59.65 seconds, and that looks quick as well. Good ride from the Russian. Second place in red was Antonio Lindback, so he's off the mark with a couple of points. Vasilek was third, but Kasper Zak's miserable start continues. He's yet to score from 2 rides, and that already puts him under pressure to qualify for the semi-finals. You're really looking generally at 9 points to be safe for a semi-final place. 8 points and you have a good chance.
Exactly, and the fact is that means he needs 3 wins now to be absolutely guaranteed of a top 8 place this evening. So Kasper Zak has had a disappointing start, but Sayfutdinov is the opposite. 3 points, very useful.
3 points for Sayfutdinov. Lindback was second, Vasilek third, and now Sayfutdinov tops the standings on 5 points from 2 rides. It was a very quick ride there from the Russian, who...
he looked good out in front, didn't he? He just moved a little bit wider and allowed the bike to run, and he looked nice and comfortable. The sort of ride that I'm sure he's had on many occasions around here. Of course, he rode for Bydgoszcz for many seasons. He's now moved away from here. Tapes are up, and we charge into the first corner. Once again, the 2 riders on gates 1 and 2 dominate proceedings, and certainly they dominate that first corner with Vasilek back in third place. You watch it, 2 boys on the inside, just get that little bit of extra drive. It's a shorter distance, of course, to the first corner. Sayfutdinov, with lots of experience here, allows the bike to run fairly wide and then charges down the back straight and picks up a super 3 points for him. And Lindback will be buoyed with that, you know, failing to score in his opening ride. Not the ideal way to start the night, but 2 points, he's giving himself a chance to get amongst it.
What a lineup this is for Heat 7. 3 riders with a race win under their belt.
Darcy Ward.
A hard-fought third place in his opening ride.
Good ride for 3 points.
Tomasz Golob.
What a brilliant ride to win his opening ride.
Super impressive in Heat 1.
But he's off gate 4, Herbie Hancock. That's going to be a tough one. Started his professional career way back in 1989, Greg Hancock, in the UK with the Cradley Heath Club, and has since had an illustrious career.
An incredible career, 2 world championships to his name, and you have to say that, you know, how long can Greg go on? You know, he's into his 40s now and he still retains the hunger, as is, of course, Tomasz Golob. We're looking at his crew and his manager there, and you've got to say he still retains this tremendous enthusiasm for the sport. It's a grueling game, you know, and you have to say that they still are riding it so well, and Golob was mighty impressive in his first ride.
Heat 7. Can Golob do it again off gate number 3? No doubt where all the support is here in Bydgoszcz. And Golob has missed the start. Now we're going to have a race, aren't we? Because whenever Golob misses the start, it really is going to be fascinating. And up front here, we see Darcy Ward in red. Matty Zagar is in blue. Here comes Hancock.
Good move
on
from
the inside.
Hancock.
Hancock spots the gap and goes for it. And now Golob is back in contention as well. The lead is with Darcy Ward. Hancock's all over him. Zagar's second. Don't rule out Tomasz Golob. But the lead here was Darcy Ward, and all 3 of them at the front of the race. How close was that?
Gates 1 and 2 working brilliantly once again. You've got to say it was a fabulous move from Greg Hancock to hustle his way back into second place. Unbelievably, Golub's out the back and not really showing signs of making any forward progress. Well, as I say that, the commentator's getting it wrong. No, he's still back out the back, but Ward, after third place in his opening ride, is looking terrific out in front, taking full advantage of the inside gate.
Ward had a damaged thumb earlier in the season. He damaged ligaments in his hand in the Poole Pirates Wolverhampton Elite League meeting in the UK on Wednesday. But here he is in his debut Grand Prix season. That's an important victory as he punches the air with delight. Darcy Ward takes a victory. Greg Hancock was second there. I thought at one stage that Golob was going to take Matej Zagar, but the Slovenian was able to hang on there, and Zagar took the points.
Well,
but Darcy Ward will feel a lot better after getting that victory under his belt.
Absolutely. He moves on to 4 points, and there's no question that winning races will boost your confidence. To say that Hancock rides a very smart race here. He took a fantastic opportunity going down the back straight as Ward hit the front. Super ride from him.
And look at this now. We've seen Golob and Hampel go 3-0. It's remarkable. And Hancock with Saifudanov topping it on 5 points apiece.
You just could not have predicted that, could you? The way that the 2 Poles won their opening races to then go out and both of them failed to score second time around is quite incredible. Once again, the inside gates are just clearly an advantage. The 2 boys in red and blue there are comfortably in front of the white and yellow helmet colours down the back straight. But just look at Hancock there. That's such a good move there because he's seen Ward get up the inside of Zagar. Right at the last minute, he touched to the inside and then snatches that second place away from Zagar. Zagar here has hit the front, but you just have to say as they go down neck and neck down the back straight, he squeezes Zagar outward, and then just as he loses his momentum, Hancock pounces there, gets himself up into second place. But the young Aussie there was terrific in front.
Darcy Ward, precious young talent, 4 points from 2 rides. And he'll be delighted with that race win. Tomasz Golob back to the drawing board for him. That gate 4, gate 3 that he was in there, he was left standing.
Normally he generates so much speed over 4 laps here, but he just could not generate it that time. We're looking at Nicky Pedersen there in the blue helmet colour, who is, no question, is going to be fired up after leading his opening race, but only picking up a point at the end. But,
yeah, the reigning world champion.
Up for points here.
Yet to score. Big race for AJ.
Changed his bike for this one.
To have a bit of speed in his opening ride, Woofenden, but of course we're not down in the pits. We don't see what's going on, but Woofenden changing bikes then for heat number 8. Andreas Jonsson, the Swede, plenty of experience in the Grand Prix series. AJ, this is his 115th appearance in the Grand Prix. There's the 3 times world champion Nicky Pedersen. There's the reigning world champion.
Look how close
Holder.
Yeah, look how close Holder was to the inside. The inside gate has been working well in recent races, and Holder is right up against the inside there, looking for a fresh bit of dirt, desperate to get to that first corner. Keep an eye on the world champion.
Not so long ago, Holder and Pedersen almost came to blows in Torren in the final round of the World Championship. They're back together here in Bydgoszcz, and Pedersen's made a good start, but there's the inside line from Holder. Now, can Nicky Pedersen make the outside line work? Oh, Holder's left him enough room, and Chris Holder has just left a gap there for Nicky Pedersen to come through. Super ride from Pedersen, and here comes Woffington.
Brilliant.
What a ride from the youngster, Ty Woffington. Now Holder comes back for more. 3 of them up front, really working hard. Woffington holds second place, Holder third, and Andreas Johnson at the back. And Woffington again looks quick here, Kelvin.
Fabulous move from Ty Woffington to get the better of the world champion, but Pedersen's out in front. They're all, you can throw a blanket over the first 3, almost 3 abreast. Woffington looking for a way through, looking fast down the back straight. Nicky Pedersen slams the door shut as he comes into turn 3 for the second time. Woffington's faster, Nigel. He's pushing the 3-time champion. Pedersen will not give. Brilliant Speedway.
What a ride! 3 abreast down the back straight.
Oh!
Pedersen in blue, Woffington in yellow. Pedersen drops the bike going into the 3rd turn. That might just be enough. Nicky Pedersen, what a Speedway race! Gets the better of Ty Woffington. Chris Holder was in contention as well. Andreas Johnson had a fantastic view of it all, albeit at the back and not scoring a point. But what a race, and you have to take your hat off to that man, Nicky Pedersen, who handled the pressure, and there was a lot of it. He handled it superbly. Great Speedway.
Great Speedway indeed. It was a fantastic Speedway race, and Nicky Pedersen somehow kept himself very wide indeed. Ty Woffington was faster there. He picks up 2 points. Holder just the solitary points. Disappointment for AJ out the back. But what Speedway we just witnessed.
Pedersen on to 4 points, and as you call it, Kelv, proper Speedway.
Well, welcome back to Bydgoszcz. My gosh, what a brilliant Speedway GP we are having. Fantastic for some, worrying for others. Golub and Hamble have both gone 3-0. You've got to worry about Thomas Golub when he can't get the start in his second outing in front of his home crowd here. What about the wildcard, Bydgoszcz? 2 seconds for the youngster. Fantastic start for him, even though he did flip the bike going round on his sighting lap before his first race. Darcy Ward a win and a 3rd for him. But what a series of heats we have had. Well, this one then with Iverson away from the tape. And then Hamble right at the back of this. But awesome riding. They're coming round Bydgoszcz, flying around the outside. Superb, superb out on the slick Bydgoszcz. There is Bydgoszcz, the second, there's 2 second-place finishes for him. Hamble, a quick change of machine. Well, that was when the machine broke down on him, so Hamble was out at the first heat. In the second heat, though, it was Fudinov who got the lead from the second corner. He was away with it. Such drive on the outside for the Russian rocket, and he managed to make good on that. From the tape, it was head downwards. He got the bike under control. The Russian was never headed after this. Went out, found the grip, out in the white stuff. Plenty of dirt out there to get your teeth into. But Kazak tried to chop around the outside from the yellow gate. No good, though. Couldn't do it once the Russian was there. Flying through. So tight as well. Now, Thomas Golub, bike number 4, watch him here. Just cannot seem to make the start at all. Gets pushed back into heat 3. And he was out the back there and then scrapping all the way through. It was Golub, and all he could do was watch Ward in red, and he was pushing through at the front. Was Ward to take that other win. Great there for Darcy Ward after that earlier 3rd. Does him the power of good. Well, out this Holder. The number 1 bib, red. He was squeezing all the way through with Nicky Pedersen, but Pedersen's having none of it in blue round the outside. He chops and he charges. And then Ty Woffington, brilliant, perfect. All the way was Ty Woffington there in yellow. Woffington not giving an inch. Nothing asked, nothing given for the Brit. And Nicky Pedersen eventually went to take the win. Right, let's hear back then from Kelvin and Nigel.
Krzysztof Kasprzak. Ty Woffington.
Very impressive so far.
Freddie Lindgren.
He's a teammate of Woffington's at Wolverhampton.
Darcy Ward.
Fine win last time out.
Now, Ty Woffington got 2 second places so far, and I mentioned his increasing maturity. His opportunity to give a quick mention to the walk that he's doing in late May and early June. He's walking from Wolverhampton to Cardiff where he'll take place in the British Grand Prix.
Is he walking or riding?
Sorry, cycling. Bike.
Yeah, he's going to push
cycling.
bike, isn't he?
Yeah, and it's for cancer research, so fair play to Woofy for that. Well done to him. Right, heat number 9 it is. Bit of movement at the start.
Oh, Woofenden.
Yep, and Woofenden did look as though he moved a little bit there, but the referee, Krista Gardell, has let it go, and the lead is with Woofenden now in blue. Second place in the yellow helmet colour is Darcy Ward. The 2 young pretenders up top. Ward is going to try and get the better of Woofenden. These 2 are the future of the Grand Prix, make no mistake about that. Lindgren is third, Kasperzak is at the back. Could it be 3 last places for him? But Woofenden is looking super quick tonight, Kelvin.
Fast away from the tapes, and he's fast in front. Ward just momentarily put pressure on him through turns 3 and 4 on the opening lap. The young Brit out in front could well move on to 7 points here. What a display from him. That really is spectacular. He's out in front, looking fast. Ward is settled easily in second place. The other 2 boys, Lindgren and Kasperzak, once again out the back. But Ty Woofenden, fabulous stuff from him.
He's carving up the opposition and is winning this race comfortably. Back in the GP, had one previous experience back in 2010. Wasn't ready by his own admission. Here he is with 7 points, and you could argue that Ty Woofenden has already got 1 foot in the semi-finals of the European Grand Prix. What a display from Ty Woofenden, his first race win. He's got the Wolverhampton manager Peter Adams in his pit corner tonight as well, marking the programme out and taking care of things. And Pete knows what he's doing. He used to help Bruce Pennell and Ollie Olsen, and now he's helping Ty Woofenden.
I think that's a really smart move from Ty Woofenden. He's not riding in Sweden this year. They've looked very hard at his schedule, and you have to say with rides like that it seems to be working, and that was really impressive because that was, as I say, no easy races in Grand Prix.
There's a result then of heat 9. Woofenden the race winner. Darcy Ward was second. He got close to Woofenden early on, but Woofenden pulled clear. Lindgren was third there, and Kasperzak trailing at the back. Woofenden now leads the Grand Prix on 7. Ward is on 6. And I'm sure we're going to see those 2 in this competition for many, many years to come.
Without doubt, and Ty Woofenden growing in stature, growing in confidence throughout, and this time away from gate 2. The bike lifts quite hard, but he manages to get it to the first corner, and he hits the front. He runs wide. Darcy Ward's the danger man, coming off the air fence there, sweeps around the outside into second place, and because he's got so much speed, because he had this big slingshot off the first corner, he puts a lot of pressure on Woofenden as they go into turns 3 and 4 on the opening lap. But then from then on, look at that first corner. Freddie Lindgren getting squeezed out there, but got to say that he was mightily fast out in front and was super impressive.
Haven't quite slotted in our first woofy of the year yet.
I'm sure it won't be long, Nige.
Super ride from him, and Darcy Ward on 6 points as well. 2 young men with a bright future in the sport.
Exactly, coming into the series for the first time, second time for Woofenden, of course, but back for 2 youngsters coming into the series that look like they're going to hold their own and really entertain us.
Heat number 10 coming up, and big race here for Andreas Jonsson off the inside and Martin Vasilik off the outside. Only a point between them, and this man Jonsson, yet to score a point, is a much better rider than that.
Yeah, he is.
As we say, yet to score. Pressure on here.
Solid so far.
Very impressive last time out.
Hasn't had the speed so far.
So this is heat number 10, and in this phase of the meeting, it's the 3rd race for every rider. It's almost like the business end of it we're approaching, where you have a clear idea of what your chances are of.
It's moving time for me. You know how many points you're going to need. You can see the meeting's beginning to pan out. You just say for riders like Andreas Jonsson's had a desperate start to tonight. I'm sure he's changed his equipment here for this one. He's coming from the inside. Absolutely has to pick up a win if he wants to have half a chance of making the semi-finals.
Heat number 10 then. And what a start from the outside from Martin Vasilik. Can he get to that first turn? Yes, he has. Super ride from gate 4 from Martin Vasilik. Second is the wildcard Bydgoszcz.
Oh! Brilliant move from Zager up the inside, switched at the very last second and just steals that second away from Bydgoszcz. Jonsson out the back, desperate for him. But Martin Vasilik, as you rightly say, Nigel, was extremely impressive away from the outside.
And still Andreas Jonsson yet to score a point. Indeed. Who would have believed that? The lead is with Vasilik. There's a real battle between Zagar and also the wild card, Krzysztof Bydgoszcz. Jonsson is going to have a go now as well for that 3rd place, but the lead, convincingly, is with Martin Vasilik. Made his debut in the Grand Prix last year, had a spell as deputy for Jarek Campbell during his injury. He's going into the last lap now, and he has this race under control.
Yeah,
Vasilik.
Absolutely, looking terrific out in front. He's just got about half a lap to go. Jonsson, desperate for points, cannot find a way through.
And it means that Vasilik's hopes of a semi-final place are still alive, but Andreas Jonsson, no points from 3 rights. Christoph Kasperzak, no points from 3 rights. Who would have thought that? Really is tough for those guys. They're unlikely to make the final now.
It epitomises how competitive the series is this season. You only have to be a smidgen off and you will fail to score points. Absolutely critical to get it absolutely spot on. And Jonsson so far has been very disappointing. He'll be absolutely gutted.
Super ride from Martin Vasilik, then his first win of the night, and it rockets him up to 4 points. A big win for him. Zegar's on 6 and looking good, and Bydgoszcz in the mix for a place in the semi-finals as a wild card, but he'll feel a lot happier. What a start that was on 4.
Yeah, that was a jet-propelled start coming from the outside, and that's what we witnessed last year from him. He was really sharp away from the tapes. He's right up against the safety fence, and the bike just powers to the first corner, and then he leaves everybody for dead. Jonsson getting swamped, but look at that move from Zagar. Switches to the inside as they go into turn 3 on the opening lap, and he gets himself into second place. But Vasilik out in front, he'll be really chuffed with that, and who knows, he might well be able to kick on and make his mark in this meeting. Winning races builds confidence for sure. Look how much it meant to him.
He's another youngster with a bright future in the sport, no question about that. Martin Vasilik, as I mentioned last season, did pretty well. The Slovakian, it's his 8th Grand Prix appearance tonight, and he won, of course, for his first win last year. But Jonsson, 0 from 3. He's made changes during the winter as well, and
exactly,
it's not worked for him.
He
here
knows
tonight.
this place very well. Won here, of course, in October 2010, and when he was really under a lot of pressure. But yeah, not working out for him tonight.
This is a big lineup, isn't it? Heat number 11.
Terrific lineup.
2 world champions. He's one of them, and he's looking quick tonight.
Bounce back time for Hampel.
Greg Hancock.
Twice world champion, 5 points.
Antonio Lindback.
What can he do from the outside?
Heat number 11 of the motorsportwatch.com European FIM Speedway Grand Prix from the ZGS Polonia Stadium here in Bydgoszcz in Poland. The capacity is 17,000. It was opened way back in 1924.
Yeah, it's a traditional stadium, and there's no question it is held in very fondly by the fans. It generates the track, as you've seen tonight. You know, we've witnessed already some super stuff, but you rightly say, Nigel, this is a great-looking lineup. Hampel up against it, under pressure, but he's got 2 real hard charges, particularly in Nicky Pedersen, who's coming from the inside gate. And Pedersen is so good away from the tapes, he will always be a nuisance in the first corner.
Got to say as well, some flats and apartments over on the back straight. If you live high up there, you've got a cracking view of the racing.
Absolutely.
That's part of living there. This is heat number 11 then here in Bydgoszcz tonight. Big race for all 4 of these riders. And away from the start, it's into that first turn. Pedersen, now the switch at the inside from Hancock. Super ride from Greg Hancock. Here comes Hampel!
Nicky Pedersen in the second place. Nicky Pedersen is the front. Superb move from Pedersen. How on earth did he squeeze through there? Hampel back into second place with Hancock in third. Lindback out the back. Now Hampel up the inside. Pedersen once again hanging on. You can't take your eyes off it. Whenever Pedersen's on the track, there's action. Pedersen in front. Hampel charging hard.
This is brutal, brutal Speedway. 500cc. No brakes, no fear. Nicky Pedersen down the back straight, and Hampel's going to come back for more. Really got speed. He's going to try the inside line. The crowd are roaring Hampel on, but Pedersen holds the line. Now we're in for an entertaining
Here we go.
Here comes Jarek Hampel. Pedersen's equal to it. The challenge is on.
Down the back.
Speedway race.
Fabulous stuff. Nicky Pedersen once again will not be denied. Back-to-back wins for Pedersen. Hampel putting him under immense pressure. Sensational Speedway, proper Speedway once again in Heat 11. Nicky Pedersen, as you rightly say, Nigel, a heart of a lion going down the back straight there on the opening lap. How on earth he squeezed his way through to the front was mind-blowing in itself. Hampel came back to charge at him late on in the race. Smashing race.
Huge respect to all those riders.
Yeah.
Pedersen, Hampel, Hancock, Lindback in the back. Pedersen's 2 race wins now have been so hard fought.
Yeah, takes your breath away. Pedersen leads away on 7 points. So hard fought. He really has earned every penny of those points. out in front, under pressure. Super fit, super strong. Here we go. Tapes are up. Initially Pedersen into the first corner, allows the bike to run right up high, then it lifts, leaves the door wide open. But look at this, squeezes round the outside of Hancock, straight up the inside of Hampel. There's very nearly contact as they go into turns 3. Hampel could have been collected by Pedersen, but they just miss each other. There's the moment when Nicky just straightens up, kills his momentum, but look how quickly he reacts. Just round the outside of Hancock, then wow, how on earth he got up the inside there. We're awfully close. And then later on in the race, Hampel came back, but you know Pedersen, he won't be denied, he won't be beaten. And he hangs on for back-to-back wins. Super stuff.
Well, Pedersen has never worked harder for his 2 race wins. This is the Grand Prix and the highest standard of world speedway. And Pedersen has really worked overtime here tonight. We're up to heat number 12, and after this race, every rider will have completed 3 rides. We've got the reigning world champion, we've got the 2010 world champion, we've got the brilliant young Russian who's got 5 points to his name, and we've got Iversen, who was a race winner last time out. Let's give you the lineup now. Here it is. Very quick in his last outing.
Chris Holder.
He needs points.
Super win in his last race.
Needs to find something extra.
He will.
Normally does, doesn't he? Yeah, he knows this place like the back of his hand, and he generally comes up trumps. But last time out, he couldn't find a way through. Just turning around, just trying to settle himself down. He'll be feeling nervous tonight, Gollop. We haven't been here for a couple of years, and he's accustomed to winning here. He's won 7 Grand Prix, going for his 8th Grand Prix title at this track. Lives here, loves it here, desperate to win again.
He's got a big Polish League match for Torun against Gorjov tomorrow as well. But tonight, it's all about the Grand Prix. Heat number 12.
Do you know what? I reckon the tapes are going up. The tapes are going up lopsided, Nigel. That's why the boys on the inside are getting such an advantage. Out in front, though, Holder, the world champion, hits the front. Gollop's gone round the outside. Now, oh, it's Typhoon with Saifudanov coming up the inside of Gollop, but got to say this time, Holder out in front. Can he hang on? Because he's under a lot of pressure, Nigel, from Thomas Gollop.
Well, there's a heck of a race developing here. Holder has that lead, and he needs the points. Here comes Gollop, high and wide into the dirt. Holder's got to close the door. Now, Gollop is going to go into the dirt again in turns 1 and 2.
There he goes! Oh, Gollop around the outside. The fans are on their feet. Here comes Holder on the inside, but Gollop, brilliant stuff from him. We've got a lap to go. Can he hang on?
Mr. G is at it again. It's Thomas Gollop down the back straight. He's the top cat, all right. And he's on his way to 3 big points. Let the crowd bring him home. Whoa, what a race.
Gollop at his best out in front. Certainly he had to work hard because the world champion Holder made him work for it. But Holder, Gollop, you know, he just winds it up around the outside, and it's just irresistible. You can see it coming as he gently builds the momentum. Lap after lap, he flies to the front. He needed it, failed to score last time out. He moves on to 6 points. Super ride there from Thomas Gollop.
Would like to discuss the start, though.
Yeah,
Not
the
quite
tapes
sure
are going.
it was even.
I reckon the tapes are going up lopsided.
Yeah,
that could why we.
Gollop the winner, Holder second, Saifudanov third. So this is the way it stands right now. Pedersen and Woffenden ahead in the GP.